What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So you see the title of this video. I want to talk about lifetime benefits and what this has to do with the current talks regarding infrastructure, stimulus, and what the American people actually need. Right now, there's a lot of discussions amongst lawmakers. The committees are actually working together to try and get the finalized legislative text of both the bipartisan infrastructure package and the budget reconciliation bill as well. Now, honestly, we don't know how big this budget reconciliation bill will be. We don't know how big this Democrat-only proposal is going to actually be. But what I can tell you is right now, over the past 24 hours, we are starting to get some more insight as to what lawmakers are currently debating. Well, here's what they're currently discussing at this point. Moderate Democrats are a little taken back by some of the different legislation that is being proposed. Progressives, they are pushing for not only immediate relief, they want to see the American people taken care of now. They also want to see the American people taken care of in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15, 20, and so on. Progressives want to see permanent, life-changing, lifetime benefits in this next infrastructure package. Progressives are saying they are tired of passing legislation just to see it gets pulled away, in the next bill, in the next Congress. It just only goes for a year or 2 years. But some are saying that this is Democrats. And this is the reason why these bills simply last, and these provisions only last for a year. For example, the child tax credit payments of 2021 that are actually going to come out this Thursday. Well, according to the IRS, they're coming out this Thursday. Well, those payments are only good for 1 year. Those payments only last actually 6 months, but it's only a 2021 benefit. Well, progressives are tired of seeing this, and they are saying that it's Democrats, that we keep proposing the exact same pieces of legislation, just little fixes. Just put a Band-Aid on it for now, and then we will make things better later. Well, later never comes. So, what they are pushing for at this time are permanent lifetime benefits. These are coming in things like the free community college. This is a big one that a lot of people believe is really going to help the United States and the American people be much more competitive with places like China. They also want to expand Medicare, and this is forever. This is not just a couple year thing. This is forever. Bring the qualifying age for Medicare from 65 down to 60. Also include, we want to include dental, vision, and hearing as well. So those will be big. They also want to wipe away student debt. This is another forever benefit. And they even want to consider a permanent, and this is something new that we're starting to really see, is progressives are pushing for a permanent $10,200 unemployment income tax waiver. This means anybody that receives any unemployment any time throughout the year, they would get up to $10,200 in free income from unemployment, would not have to pay a penny in taxes on that. And some want to make this a permanent benefit. Now, these are all big pieces of legislation, but this doesn't even include the possibility of a fourth stimulus check. Now, I bring this up because many progressives are continuing to push for a monthly stimulus check. We know Pramila Jayapal and Bernie Sanders both support a $2,000 per month stimulus check. They would like to see it go on for over a year. And this is something that many experts say it's just too expensive. It's not going to happen. But let me ask you, do you need $2,000 for the next year? Or would you be 100% satisfied if you just received a one-time payment of $2,000 for this fourth stimulus check? And I bring this up for one main reason. Right now, experts and many economists are actually predicting a fourth stimulus check will happen. Okay? That is as of today. That is actually today, Sunday, July 11th. Many are predicting a fourth stimulus check will happen. But here's the difference. This check will not go to, the 100 and, million people that received the last stimulus check. It's not going to go to that many people. This is going to be very targeted. It will go to the lowest income earners. It will go to those that were hardest hit. So most likely people that are still collecting unemployment. It will go to people that maybe they just lost a lot of income. Okay, it's going to go to those that were hardest hit. But economists are saying that a fourth stimulus check at this time is needed, but it's not needed for the middle class and upper class, just the lower class. That is who needs the money at this time, because we're actually seeing two different Americas, two different recoveries. We're seeing the middle and upper class. We're seeing them kind of recover a little bit sooner. We're seeing the lower class. They are kind of, dragging behind. They're trickling underneath, and they're having a tough time recovering because prices for food, for essentials, the necessities, rent, everything is increasing, but their income is either staying the same or coming down. And I say it's coming down because a lot of lower income earners are minimum wage employees, many of which have not yet received or gotten their job back. And so they're still on unemployment. Well, come September 6th, and according to reports, the White House is okay with letting the unemployment benefits expire. Well, after September 6th, all these people lose their benefits. They have zero income, which means this fourth stimulus check, and why many are talking about a $2,000 one-time payment. A lot of people are discussing this because these payments will be essential come September. But if we see this budget reconciliation bill pass before then, and a stimulus check is not included, if a stimulus check is not included in this next package, what some are saying is that these people will be absolutely screwed, because there will be no way that the GOP will negotiate with the Democratic Party if they do pass a budget reconciliation bill on the heels of this bipartisan deal that they're currently working on. So if we see stimulus soon and it only goes to a small amount of people, first off, any stimulus I think would be good. But if we don't see it included in the next package, and Democrats use their budget reconciliation, they use that reconciliation card once again, we could be in trouble. We could be in trouble come this fall. Okay, so just wanted to throw that out there, that some are a little bit worried about where we're going because of the directions of the talks that are currently going on. Reports also indicate that President Biden, he's actually open and would support a fourth stimulus check. Okay, however, he says it first must come from Congress, yet Congress is actually putting the pressure back on President Biden, saying that they're just going to follow his lead. So right now it means that whether we see another stimulus check or not, it's really going to depend on what is in this next bill. And we don't really know what's in this bill. Lawmakers don't even know what's in this bill until it comes out of the committees. Well, that's not supposed to happen until July 19th. Well, that's in 8 days. Okay, so not this coming Monday, which is tomorrow, but in over a week. That is when they're expecting sometime that week we will see what is coming out of the committees. Now, I want to bring something else up to you, and this is something that Bernie Sanders said the other day. Bernie Sanders and Senator Joe Manchin, they're actually setting themselves up for quite the negotiation at this time. What we know is Senator Joe Manchin, he is in support of a up to $2 trillion infrastructure package that is a Democrat-only proposal. Well, Senator Bernie Sanders says he is open to anything over $3 trillion. So we got one moderate senator, that's Senator Joe Manchin, says he'll go up to $2 trillion. Then we got Bernie Sanders, who's saying he would go down, and he's a progressive, he would go down to $3 trillion. He's not going to go a penny less than that because he says this is way too low. So there is a $1 trillion gap where Bernie Sanders will not go down, Joe Manchin will not go up, and President Biden at this time wants to see something closer to $3 trillion if the bipartisan bill does pass, because that's roughly $1.2 trillion over 8 years, meaning he would get pretty much the exact same bill, or a similar type of bill that he was proposing months ago as well in his own framework. So that would roughly come out with those two bills combined, $3 trillion plus 1.2, be about the $4.1 to $4.2 trillion that President Biden proposed anyway. So right now, that's where the discussions are. We're going to see some fighting amongst the Democratic Party because nobody can really agree as to how much infrastructure is needed, what is needed, which pieces of legislation should be cut out, which pieces are not actually included yet. And again, this is that stimulus check. This is that stimulus check that a lot of lawmakers say is needed, but it's not included in the infrastructure bill yet. Will it be there when the committees release this finalized legislative text? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would assume there would be something. I would assume there would be something for the hardest hit individuals, because that's what a lot of lawmakers and many experts are saying at this time. But again, whether it's in there or not, we don't know. We'll find out in a little bit over a week. Now, here's something that I think is interesting. And I bring this up because this is, kind of in the next package. From a few White House aides yesterday, they are saying that President Biden wants the child tax credit extended, and we're pursuing that in the budget resolution. Now, the budget resolution and the budget reconciliation are pretty much the same thing. But the budget resolution has to come with reconciliation instructions. And again, it's just a bunch of verbiage, doesn't really matter, but the budget resolution and budget reconciliation are pretty much the exact same thing. Okay? Now, I want to mention this, and I want to bring this up about President Biden because he is in support of extending the child tax credit and extending this for an additional 4 years. But the problem is this. A handful of moderates at this time don't feel that it is wise to spend money on children at this time because we still don't know how this child tax credit payment is going to play out. We still don't know how effective this is going to be, and some say that we should wait. We should wait, figure out how effective this piece of legislation is, then we can come back to the table and discuss the possibility of extending these payments. Now, I can tell you one thing. If we do not see, and again, this is something that we're kind of seeing already, but if we don't see millions and millions of families take up these monthly payments, as opposed to accepting this child tax credit at the end of the year when they file their taxes. If we see millions of families just opt out of these monthly payments, this is not a good look for President Biden, the Biden administration, and their push for this extension of this child tax credit payment. Some say, and some lawmakers are supportive of the increase, right? It used to be a $2,000 per year per child tax credit. That's still pretty good. That's a substantial amount of money. But what some are saying is they'd support the increase from $2,000 to $3,000 or $2,000 to $3,600. But the problem is that monthly payment, that is a form of universal basic income. So by providing this monthly payment, by putting it on the IRS, who is already overloaded, they have over 35 million tax returns. These are back tax returns, right? That they are still trying to process. These are returns. This is money that could be going out to the American people. They're still trying to process over 35 million returns. That is insane. That's how far behind they are at this time. But what experts are saying is that by putting this additional task, putting the pressure on the IRS to send out these payments every single month, it's just too much. It's too much. It's too expensive. Okay, and so it's costing taxpayers way too much money to do this every single month. But if we didn't do it every single month, did it maybe every quarter, potentially that could work. Or the big thing is, let's just make the payments at the end of the year, like we used to. And so that's what some are actually discussing at this time is, how about we just go back to the way things used to be, except we increase the amount from $2,000 to $3,000 or $3,600, leave it at that, and all right, we're done, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing. And President Biden is supportive of this. He wants to see this child tax credit payments extended, but some say that it might not be needed once this pandemic is over. But again, we will see. Now, Senator Josh Hawley, who is a Republican, he actually proposed back in April of this year, he proposed something called the Parent Tax Credit. Now, this would essentially be a bigger tax credit than just the $3,000 per child, especially if you only have 1 or 2 children. But the way this would work is, as a married couple, you would actually get $12,000, a $12,000 parent tax credit per year. And that doesn't matter if you have 1 child, 2, or 10. You still get the same $12,000. If you're separated, each parent would get $6,000. Well, Senator Josh Hawley's office actually said that this proposal of his was actually just a way to promote marriage and work. And again, this is as opposed to giving the child tax credit to just anybody with children. They want to give this to people that are willing to work, that are still married, right? That's what they want. So the GOP at this time, and even before, is willing to negotiate with the Democratic Party on this piece of legislation. But the problem is they don't want to pick and choose. They don't want to pick and choose which piece of legislation they are going to negotiate, which ones they're going to kind of work on, which ones they're not going to touch, or are a red line to Democrats. They don't want to do this. So that's the issue right now. Is some Democrats say, oh, this is a red line issue. We are going to discuss this. We are going to have this in the next bill. And Republicans, they're like, well, we don't have any power at this point, so we're going to just delay these. We're going to try and negotiate the best we can, and hopefully nothing like this passes. So we'll see what happens there. But the problem we are facing is that at this time, lawmakers are using this time to pass lifetime benefits. And this is something that the GOP doesn't want. The GOP and a handful of moderates like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema in the Senate, they want to pass short-term legislation. They want to reevaluate in a year or so, look to see if these pieces of legislation are actually benefiting the American people, the economy, and the United States as a whole, and then they can decide if a permanent change is needed at that point. But they don't want to just make permanent changes just for the sake of making these changes. And a lot of Democrats say, well, if we don't make the changes now and we lose the House and the Senate, then we won't have the ability to make changes later on anyway. So that's the discussion is, okay, how do we get these passed? Can we get these passed? Do we need to get these passed now, or can we wait? Well, according to experts, Democrats will not hold the majority in the House and the Senate after this upcoming midterm election in 2022. So if any piece of legislation needs to get passed by Democrats, then they should do it right now. Now, while Congress actually is working on these bills, what we know is that health experts are saying that the Delta and the Delta Plus variants of COVID are actually taking over. Okay, so this isn't great. But, and the reason why I bring this up is because Congress isn't discussing this. Obviously, they're on recess still. They'll come back to Washington tomorrow. But Congress isn't discussing what is happening regarding COVID. If we see case counts increase, which we are starting to see, if we see more people starting to die, which we kind of are starting to see. Now, the numbers came down, right? The numbers dropped, and which is great, but they're now starting to slowly climb back up. And this could be because of the July 4th celebrations. But what we are seeing right now is lawmakers aren't discussing what happens if COVID comes back. Again, it hasn't gone anywhere. But what if we start to see this surge in cases again? Well, this is why some are saying that we need to stay on top of this. Experts are saying we need to continue to wear a mask and social distance when possible. Just the other day, we heard of a woman that she actually died after she was infected with 2 different strains of COVID. Well, what researchers are saying is that they were warning of this risk, and they know that this is something that they must consider, but they're continuing to do their research to determine how effective the vaccines will be if you do contract 2 different strains. So at this time, there's a lot of stuff going on, but as I know more, I promise I will share more. Just wanted to give you this little update so you guys understand what is going on, where the discussions are currently headed. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.